Hi, here we have a trigonometric equation. So that is we have to solve for x. Okay, when I look at the equation over here, x is an angle measure, and when I solve for x in this equation, its value has to be can be 0 or greater than 0, but the value of x has to be less than 2 pi. Okay, so to solve this equation, so the first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the sine square x as sine x the whole square negative 3 sin x positive 2 equals to 0. So here I find sin x, here I find sin x. So to make the equation solving process easier, I'm going to assign a new variable y for sin x. That is, let y equals to sin x. So wherever I find sin x, it can be replaced by y. So then this part will become y square negative 3y positive 2 equals to 0. Okay, now it's a quadratic equation in the variable y. So I think we can solve this quadratic equation by factoring. Since the coefficient of y square is 1, we can get two factors for the constant term positive 2, such that the product of the two factors is equal to positive 2, and the sum of the two factors is equal to the middle term, I mean the coefficient of y, that is negative 3. So I think negative 2 or negative 1 will work. So when I multiply negative 2 and negative 1, so that is equal to positive 2. When I add them, it is equal to negative 3. So y square, we can split up the middle term negative 3y using these two factors negative 2, negative 1. Then I'll be getting negative 2y, negative 1y, positive 2 equals to 0. Okay, now we can factor this expression by grouping. That is, we can consider the first two terms as one group and the next two terms as another group. So what is the greatest common divisor for the terms of the first group? Y. Y is the greatest common divisor. We can factor y out. So to get the stuff inside the parentheses, we can divide the first term and second term by the one I factored out. When I divide this y square by this y, I'll be getting y. And when I divide this negative 2y by this y, I'll be getting negative 2. Okay, so what is the greatest common divisor for these two terms is I can consider negative 1 because actually I don't find any common divisor other than 1. Since the coefficient of y is negative 1, I can consider negative 1 as a common divisor for these two terms. So negative 1 can be factored out. So to know the stuff inside the parentheses, I have to divide this one by the one I factored out. When I divide this negative 1y by negative 1, negative 1, negative 1 will cancel out, allow y in the first term. When I divide this positive 2 by negative 1, this positive times negative will become negative. 2 over 1 is 1, so I get negative 2 equals to 0. So what's the greatest common divisor for these two terms? Y negative 2. So we can factor y negative 2 out. So to know what I have left in the first term, I have to divide this one by y negative 2. So this one will cancel out, allow y left in the first term. When I divide this one by y negative 2, allow negative 1 equals to 0. So the product of the two binomials, y negative 2 and y negative 1 equals to 0. So either y negative 2 equals to 0 or y negative 1 equals to 0. So if I solve for y, I'll be getting y equals to 2. If I solve for y, I'll be getting y equals to 1. Okay, now what I can do is, like actually y is a variable, it was taken by us. So the original stuff is sin x. So we can replace the y by the original stuff sin x because we have solved completely. So if I replace y by sin x, I'll be getting sin x equals to 2. And here sin x is equal to 1. Okay, so sin x is equal to 2 is not possible because already we know that the minimum value of sin x is negative 1 and the maximum value of sin x is positive 1. So that is always sin x will be in this interval negative 1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to sin x less than or equal to 1. So the value of sin x always has to be in this interval. But the value we have over here is out of this interval, so we cannot accept the first one. So we can accept the second one. So sin x is equal to 1. But we have to get the angle measure because x stands for the angle measure for which the value of sin is equal to 1. So we can get the value of x from the trigonometric ratio table. Please go to the trigonometric ratio table and get the angle measure for which the value of sin is 1. So that is pi over 2. So the solution for the given equation is x equals to pi over 2, that is 90 degrees.